But it's interesting because, okay, so we talk about this like new form of communication, not new form, but it is a new form, texting and things.
It is. It's very new. Yeah.
It brings out this rise of, okay, for example, first of all, texting versus calling and also seeing someone in person. Texting is not a very forgiving medium. Do you know what I mean? Like for mistakes, for misinterpretations, because this is where I think that the texting world can be a absolute minefield. And also because of texting and WhatsApp and all of this stuff, we're getting into this cycle of instant gratification, right? So like we instantly want to hear back. And now there's become this whole like new concept of modern dating where I don't know if it's a new concept, but it's like, how long do I wait to text? Why haven't they responded to my text? What's going on? And you get this almost like this roller coaster of emotion because you get this high when you get a text from somebody, right? You're like, oh my God, they've messaged me or whatever. Then you text them and then you can see that they've read it or whatever else. And you're like, oh, well, they've read the message. They've been online.
Why didn't they respond?
Exactly.
Do they not like me?
Exactly. And then you start going through it. And then maybe 2 days later, you get a message back and say, oh, I'm sorry, I was really busy, blah, 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 blah. But you already have like all of these preconceived ideas in your head, like, oh, they don't like me. They're playing games with me. Like
I know it's crazy. It's crazy. And I remember also like back when I was living in London, cause I was using WhatsApp obviously. And that's when the blue ticks came out for the first time.
Yeah,
so you know how like before they actually didn't have the red messages.
Yeah.
So you couldn't tell if somebody had read your message. But then they started doing these blue ticks. And I swear to God, this is just like all of these modes of communication trying to fuck with us. Okay. Yeah. So then they gave these blue ticks. So now we can see when they fucking read the message. And I was like, oh my God. And this was when I was like actively like dating, casually dating. So I'd be like talking to like men and then like, I didn't open the message purposefully so that, you know, they don't see that I read it. And then sometimes I would send a message and I would see that they read it and they don't respond for like hours. And I'm like, what the fuck? So it's like, it fucks with your head. Of
course. It's like all of a sudden now we have this new facet of like, it is this instant gratification. And if you know that somebody's read it, you're like, oh, well, why haven't they responded? What's going on? Whereas like, it's funny because like in the book, they use an example of like classified ads in newspapers. So like back in the, during the like 70s or 80s, people would put like, I don't know if it maybe in the 90s as well, I'm not sure. And they would put like a classified ad in the paper. And one guy who they interviewed was like, yeah, I'd put a classified ad. And then it would like have his phone number so people could call and leave like a voicemail or something. Or
like an ad for dating, right? Like an online ad for dating. Okay.
So I'd put in my ad, and this is where like a lot of the dating abbreviations came about as well, because you could only have so many words in the ads.
Oh my God! Yeah.
Yeah. So you'd be like, I can't think of any off the top of my head at the moment, but like
like so M for male or like shit like that. I can't remember. Yeah.
Like M for female, whatever. You know, like random stuff like this.
W
like male
for white or something.
Yeah. Exactly. And so this guy was like, yeah, I put this ad up, and he said, you know, there'd be like a number for the people to call and then they could leave a voicemail for him. And he was like, yep, I put the ad up, and then he would check his voicemail like at the end of the week or maybe another week. So it would go like every week, not like this instant, like, and he was like, the rest of the week he was fine, not really thinking about it. Then would get excited, check them on Friday, and that was it. You know what I mean? There wasn't this whole like texting where it was like, oh my God, they've read my message. This extra kind of level of stress. Yeah. So it's like,
it's true. And
I was going to say, didn't you coin a term for when these blue ticks came out?
Oh, I called it the blue ticks of doom.
Yes, I remember. I thought it was death, but doom works too.
Oh, the blue ticks of doom.
Oh
because
God,
it's
Daniel,
it's
the
like
blue
doom.
Yeah.
Because you also don't want them to get the blue ticks, because I didn't want them to think that I read it and like, I'm ignoring them.
Ignoring them, yeah.
But I also don't want to read it right away and respond right away. And it's like, it's just stressful because sometimes it's so stupid because I'm like, okay, I'm busy, so I'm not going to respond immediately, but I see that I got the message. So there's really nothing wrong with me reading the message, but because I know that the other person, because the mode of communication is just so, it's very, it's very shallow. Like you don't get much out of this, right? So you don't know what the other person is going through. You don't know what is happening. So all you're doing is just seeing that they've read the message. That's all. Like that literally just means they opened up the goddamn, messaging app. Okay.
Exactly.
But then all of these ideas are going through the other person's head. Like, did they read it? Why did they not respond? Are they busy or are they ignoring me? So that's, it's just, blue ticks of doom. Blue ticks of doom. Who made up with it? Like, who did this? Okay.
I know.
They're like, let's fuck with people.
Exactly.
They're already having a hard time dating. Let's just fuck with people.
Exactly.
Let's just make them more stressed and make them more addicted to this app so that
Yeah.
they're constantly on it, checking if they've read the message.
Exactly. And that whole level of instant gratification and, you know, getting like, those blue ticks like instantly, like, oh my God, like, and
they read it. Oh my God. And then you can see them typing.
Yeah. Oh, this is the worst. You don't need to know. You don't need to know that somebody's, because then you'll see them type. Like, let's say you're on WhatsApp, right? And you're chatting with somebody. Because I've had this happen before, where I'll be like, I see the blue ticks. They've read my message, and then I see them typing. I was like, oh, okay, cool. So I'm just like, kind of
and then they stop.
And then they stop typing, and then they're typing again, and then they stop, and then no message gets sent, and I'm like,
oh goddamn.
What were you writing? Why did you stop writing? Why did you not send me a message? Like, and you honestly, you have.
And then you're like, should I send another message or am I going to sound crazy?
Exactly. Well, this is another thing too. It's like, how many messages should I send? Do you know what I mean? Like all of a sudden now, you know, if I send a couple messages, is this too many? Have I crossed the line? Have I sent one? And I'm really bad because I've gotten into this habit. I remember when I first started texting, I would send like block texts. You know what I mean? Like one SMS or whatever. And now like with WhatsApp, I'll like text as I'm thinking. So I'll like write a sentence, send it, write something else, send it. And it will be like 5 or 6 different like WhatsApp messages. But you know what I mean? Like I rarely write
I think most people do that now.
Yeah. So, I mean, does that make me look crazy if I keep sending a guy these messages? Like, I don't know.
Oh, God.
Like,
God. And another thing that you mentioned is like texting is less forgiving because it's just not a very good form of communication to actually convey who you are, right? Because it's like it's just a written few words. You're not going to actually get to know anybody over text. And like, I mean, Daniel's a great example because he's the worst texter in the world.
I am
like
not.
If I had
I
just,
don't know where you got this
Daniel,
concept
you're pretty
from,
bad at
Rose.
texting. Like if I could just communicate through Daniel through text, it would be a very bad. It would be a very bad friendship because I would just be like, is he like? I don't know. There's something about the way you text. I don't know. You sometimes just seem like uninterested. Yes, you've gotten a bit better, but I feel like sometimes I'm just like. But then when I talk to you, it's very different, right? Because like it's just like, you know. And it doesn't mean that you're uninterested. It's just like not everyone texts the same and it's just writing a few words. And one of the things that I'm definitely guilty of is like being the grammar Nazi.
It's just like, so true. Oh my God.
So when I'm like, you know, maybe potentially, you know, about to date somebody.
Yeah.
And like I'm talking to them over text. And if their grammar is bad, it's like an instant turn off.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, obviously, like to some extent, it's okay. But like, if it's like really bad, I'm like, oh my God. And I don't even know this person.
Exactly.
You know?
Well, this is the thing that they mentioned as well is like a lot of people will jump to these conclusions from text messages, such as grammar, such as this stuff. And I didn't know that I'm a very uninterested texter. So this is something I need to work on because maybe this is what, oh my God, Rose, this is like,
no, maybe it's just toward me because you already know me. So I'm sure if you text other guys, I'm sure you sound fine.
I don't know though. Maybe like this is like a therapy session for me. You know, I'm getting all this good.
It's not that I just feel like your personality it doesn't shine in text, right? So, and I've had the same opposite where I've met guys or people that are really, you know, colorful over text and they seem like they have a really big personality. And then I meet them and it's the other way around. They're actually quite shy and they don't really talk much. So it's a way of communication that doesn't showcase who you actually are.
Exactly.
And we should be treading lightly when it comes to texting because we can't rely on it so much as a communication platform.